Yeah, 15 is going to be massive in this draft as well. We focus on the top four, but I think there's some really good players around 15. Hit that like button if you guys haven't done so. Subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I want to get into a little bit of Bears with you because you get an opportunity while, being from here and being a fan of the team. You had an opportunity to see the entire league and call some really, really big games. And the one thing that I think I really want to learn from you is, what do you notice is the common theme for teams that are consistently at the level that I think we saw the Bears play at last year, which is playoff caliber, kind of fringing on that championship caliber, didn't get there, of course, to the NFC title game. But like, what do you see that avoids the pop-up seasons that we've seen here in Chicago so often, right? Nagy 1 year, the Super Bowl, of course, and the Lovey years were probably the best, but then you get Mark Trestman 1 year. We don't see the sustained success here in Chicago.
Yeah, I think a lot of it obviously is going to have to do with how Ben Johnson adjusts his offense, and what steps Caleb Williams takes, because it's teams, once they get this much film on you, I think start to lean into specific tendencies.
Yeah.
And the credit I give to Ben is that they improved their offense the few years that he was in Detroit. Like, the offenses got better. Jared Goff got better. I think each year they were able to add wrinkles. How do you take advantage of continuity? And again, another Detroit theme from when Ben was there. Like, they had enough continuity to where they could mess around. Like, we remember the trick plays they ran against the Bears a couple of years ago. Like, they can mess around because, like, we've been together for 3 years. We've been together for a lot of practices.
And Ben was trying to get wild. He's like, actually fumble the football, pick it back up, and then throw it. Like, all right, dog, do it too much.
It's like a little extra, but I again, it comes from a place of confidence, I would imagine, right? So, like we've had the reps together. Like, the Brady Patriot teams, like, were really good because a lot of those guys just been together, and Brady and his center had been together, and the offensive line knew what they were doing, and the receivers learned fast because the expectation was there, and they have all the tools to be able to build, on what they did last year. It's not as if there's a ton of elements that got taken away, or you have a new quarterback, or you got a new head coach, or like all the elements of a great offensive team are still there. And you've drafted well. I think the guys you've picked in the last 2 drafts should be contributors right out of the gate, or out of this draft, just as
100%,
last year. Like, you should have guys that are contributors right out of the gate. It's a lot of like, how are you ready to counterpunch right away? Because you're going to play difficult defenses all season. It's going to be as hard of a schedule as you're going to find, which comes with the territory, right? This is how the NFL scheduling system works. The top flight teams play other top flight teams as part of a rotation if they win the division the previous year. So you're going to play, 4 teams that had like 11 plus wins.
Yeah.
It's like 6 playoff teams, or something like that early. It's a really hard schedule. So, and a lot of those teams have great defenses. So again, are you ready to counterpunch right out of the gate? Are you ready to, come into camp and build on, like, you don't have to go through install again. Like, I know what you should know all this stuff. Here's what I want to add to it. And I think the creativity level of Ben Johnson will be tested in a good way. I think, Caleb Williams' mentality is going to be tested even harder. Like, we saw how, mentally tough he seemingly is last year during a lot of those moments, and during the high pressure situations. And, they're tasked with something very difficult. I think I saw a number where the Bears have, technically, based off opponent strength of schedule, the hardest schedule in the league, right? And again, that's a little misleading because the level of parity in the NFL is very high, and again, the schedule matching and all that. But the last team that came into the year with the league's toughest schedule and win a playoff game was the Falcons team 10 years ago that blew the lead in the Super Bowl. Like, which shouldn't define them of what we're talking about in this particular case. Like, that was a really good Matt Ryan-led team, but that was the last one. There have been 10 years of teams that come in with the hardest schedule and cannot get to the playoffs or win a game. And this is a big task, and especially in a division where, I don't think there has been too much of a drop-off. I think there's a lot of questions surrounding the other 3 teams, but there hasn't been a ton of drop-off.
So when you look at the schedule, you do feel that this is going to be a tougher test for the Bears, because I look around division. If you're predicting more than 3-3, you're insane. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. This division is going to be a bloodbath. I think Detroit bounces back in a big way. I think Minnesota's dangerous with Kyler Murray there, because he will just at least throw the football to Justin Jefferson consistently. But when I look at some of the other teams, right, and how it's set up, and I don't know if you saw the net rest, the Bears have the most rest in the NFL, if you can call it rest at a certain point. A lot of those tough games, though, are in Soldier Field. And when I look at that, I'm like, the Bears defended Soldier Field really well at a shocking rate for where they were the season before. That kind of makes me feel like, and 10 years is crazy. Hearing that stat is insane. But, like, not that the schedule's not as difficult as it's being billed, but that the Bears have a lot more advantages than maybe some of those other teams did.
I think that's fair. And that gets built into how you structure your week. Who is doing scout for when, for which opponents and stuff like that. Like that goes into the week to week, day to day structure of like your season. And again, this now that you know the schedule, you can start to plan this as a staff, and it starts with Ben and obviously trickles downwards. I do think there are some advantages in there. I still don't think it's going to be very easy, and not to say that anybody thinks it's going to be, but I just look at the rest of this. Like, Carolina is gonna be an interesting game right out of the gate. I'm looking at the schedule now. You have difficult games, a division game, and then a Philadelphia game, but those are at home. You get the Packers at home late in the season on Christmas. That's a nice advantage to have. I think 2 of the final 3 games, the last 3 are all divisional games, and 2 of them are at home. So that's a nice boost that you get as well. Bye week comes at a good time. It's basically a mid-season bye. Yeah. So it comes at like a decent time. I think you'll have 3 primetime games, or 3 like non-Sunday games. Right. I think there's a Monday, a Thursday, and a Monday in the first half of the year before the bye week comes. And then obviously everybody has a little bit of a wonky schedule in the second half. So, but you'll get a lot of that stuff out of the way. Now you might get flexed, obviously, et cetera. It's fine. But
yeah, that final TBD on the Vikings game and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like you're right though in just saying that there's small little advantages that you try to take to your team and say, hey, here's how we're going to structure this week. Remember, you guys have your bye coming up. We're going to try to set up this week for you this way, or whatever it is. Like that, those things start to become a little bit more of a factor as you get closer to the season. I think the last thing I would say too, Pat, just to go back to a previous question, was like the common theme. I don't think I did a thorough enough thought about it. I look at teams like Green Bay, which has had consistent winning for the most part. The teams in the division obviously have been like successful to solid degrees in the last decade. So I haven't seen every team in this division. I feel like coaching philosophy and identity goes a long way. Whether you agree with Matt LaFleur's style or agree with it, whether you like Dan Campbell's energy or think it's like off-putting, whether you think Kevin O'Connell's cerebral methodology is too much for some people to handle or just right for the modern NFL, you know what you're getting with a lot of those guys. Minnesota, you know what you're getting with their defense. And I think when players come in, whether they're draftees or whether they're signees, they have an idea of what is expected of them. And it's only been a year, but I just feel like with success comes perception. And the perception of the Bears is that of a successful franchise because they've made a lot of right moves over the last couple of seasons. Drafting Caleb and hiring Ben are 2 of the most impactful and most visible moves that you're going to get, and both have paid very good dividends so far. So the perception changes. The thing is, perception of the NFL changes very fast. It's a league that is built on parity, that is built based off of the draft, based off of what salary structure is. I think rookie contracts are huge assets to win. When you see a really talented young player, say, let's surround him with talent now and take an early shot, like Seattle did with Russell Wilson. They were one of the first teams when Russell was on his rookie contract to go win. After the Sam Bradford deal
kind of started
that Sam Bradford deal took place, and then the restructuring of how like rookie deals were and what the max was, and then how it affects your salary ceiling. And now all of a sudden you're like, well, Russell Wilson's really good, and we can pay our running backs, and we can pay our receivers, and we can pay the Legion of Boom, and we might have enough to win a Super Bowl now.
Yeah.
and they only got back once, and they didn't win it again until this past season. Several quarterbacks
You
later.
just turn around and hand it off. I mean,
But like that's what it is. Like the rookie
Yeah.
contract is a huge asset right now, and Caleb being on a rookie contract means you can take some shots now before he is going to, probably rightfully so, demand a very high percentage of the salary structure for the Bears.
Yeah, let's hope that we do a lot of winning before we get to that point. But it doesn't stop. I think a lot of Bears fans too. They're like, you got to win before the rookie contract. It's like, people win Super Bowls after they get money, right? Like Tom Brady won a lot after he was paid well, so he wasn't
absolutely.
And he wasn't struggling in this
league.
league.
There shouldn't be a panic about it, but I do think that where the Bears have been in recent years to try to build something sustainable for the future, like if you win on a rookie deal or with a quarterback on a rookie deal, suddenly that's a major free agent destination. And what ends up happening is if you sustain, now teams or players are willing to take salary cuts. They're willing to go somewhere where they can win. It's a much more attractive veteran destination because guys who are talented but haven't been in the right structure but have made a lot of money, the Justin Jeffersons of the world stick out to me. Like, hey, he's one of the best receivers of his generation, and yet he hasn't really made a deep impact in the playoffs. What do you expect from guys like that? Well, eventually, as they get older, they go, hey, I've made $200 million. I'm taking care for the rest of my and my family's life. How about I go somewhere where I can make an impact on a younger team, on a young receiving room, and with a quarterback that looks like he knows what he's doing and a coach that I think I might want to play for. Let me go win a Super Bowl with these guys. And we've seen numerous stories of that over the course of this century in the NFL.
100%. At least for Justin Jefferson, play with a quarterback that puts him in his own top 5 wide receivers. I don't know if you saw that from JJ McCarthy. I'm like, you don't got your guy? Okay, buddy, don't worry about it. Listen, right, Caleb would have put Rome in there, and we'd have been like, that's a stretch, but I get it. Let's finish it out with this, Adam. Appreciate you taking the time out. I want to ask some questions about Adam Amin. We talked about the Bulls. We've talked about the Bears. Now I want to talk about Adam and get your perspective on some things. What's harder to call, Mr. Amin? A blowout in the NBA or a blowout in the NFL?